Vijay Drakoi. I will speak now.
Hello there. I'd like to have a little chat with you about your sleeping habits. Oh, good. I see you finally noticed you're not in your bed anymore. You really do spend too much time staring at that phone thing of yours, which is actually part of the problem. Now, just calm down a moment. That's not being calm. Are you done yet? Think of this like a bad dream. It actually is one, sort of. Except you're not asleep. You're not in your bed. You're not in your house. I had to come all the way out here. I had to walk, by the way, and I'm just heckin' thrilled about that. All the way out here just to snatch you up out of your bed, phone and all, and into this little pocket of the dreamlands. Oh, Yaldabog, what is it with you mortals? I can't do a single audit without one of you asking those same idiotic questions. How can I help you? Are you with the clinic? What's on that clipboard? Does anyone ever ask me those questions? No, they do not. It's always, who are you? What are you doing in my room? Where am I? How did you find my house? I am a very busy demon, and my job is criminally stressful and only nominally rewarding, and I have to deal with confused, screaming humans on a nightly basis. And it's really difficult for me to do all this in an orderly and timely fashion with you shouting like that. So if you could just do me the exceptional favor of shutting the hell up, I will try to explain to you what's going on so that we can get down to business. We good? You sure? Yeah? Okay then. My name is Zhotar Kall. I'm an Auditor demon working in association with the accounting division of the Dream Clinic. And I've snatched you up into this featureless no-place pocket of the Dreamlands in order to take you to my office, so that we can go over your sleep history archives and rectify this massive delinquency on your account. Yeah. You've built up such a sleep deficit over the years that it's actually gone into arrears, and now it's being sent to collection. Yes, that's a thing. You spend enough time not sleeping when you should be sleeping, and eventually that all adds up. Usually it doesn't get this far unless somebody really screws up. And by somebody, I mean you. You really screwed up. And now, I have to deal with it. It sucks, I know. But this is the job I got stuck with, and I just so happen to be passing good at it. So there we are. And here we are. The other end of this liminal space between your bedroom and my office. If you'll just step in through this doorway. Oh, that's just ooh-woo fucking-tastic. The bog-damned entry keypad is on the fritz again. Thank you. Yeah, just sit down over there on that stack of document boxes. Seven hells, this place is a mess. I really wish they'd let me have a larger office. much all like this. They stick the entire accounting department down in the sub-basement of the Dream Clinic because nobody likes the accountants. And all the respectable medical professionals upstairs would much prefer to pretend that we don't exist. And yet we do exist, and we all have our jobs to do just like anybody else. Only our jobs are a lot harder because of all the backlog we have to go through working with people like you. So sit down and try not to kick over any loose papers, and we can get to work on your delinquent sleep account. Which I just so happen to have right here on my desk. At least something in here is organized. Okay, let's get started. Your overall problem is that you are way behind on sleep. Your account here shows that you are running a massive sleep deficit. About, let me see here. Holy Ned. Just barely over 5 years worth. No, I don't mean you're behind on sleep for the last 5 years. I mean you are behind on your sleep by a full 5 years. Solid. As in more than 43,800 hours of missed sleep. I don't know how that's even physically possible, especially given your age, but there it is. That's the deficit you're running at. And it's going to come up a lot in our consultation, so I'm just going to refer to it going forward with a nice round term of 5 years. That's not the exact amount, and it's not legally binding, but that's what we're going to go with for the purposes of our meeting. Okay? Yeah, I'm just as appalled as you are. I've seen some pretty big deficits in my time in accounting, but this... How did you do it? No, I haven't gone through your file yet. I haven't had the time until right now. Someone came in from the main office, slapped your file on my desk with a cover letter on it with the time, location, and physical description, and told me, go get their ass and get this account straightened out. So, I did. And now you're here, and we need to figure out just how in the 9 realms you managed to rack up this much missed sleep. So, we've got some lists of general activities here. Well, that one's to be expected. There's a significant portion of your sleep deficit that's a direct result of the time you spend on your phone before going to sleep. Eventually. Oh yeah, that little bit of mindless doom scrolling while you're laying in bed, it adds up faster than most folk would believe. Time lost because you're not paying attention to anything but that screen and your thumb. And, here's an entry for some word I can't pronounce and you probably couldn't even hear. You know how when you get into bed and you're about to get comfortable and then you realize you're starving, so you get back out of bed and go and open the fridge and then stare at all the food until you realize nothing actually looks appealing, so you go back to bed? Well, apparently there actually is a word to describe that situation. Go figure. And you appear to be very, very guilty of it. Another entry. Oh, that's a big one. Sitting up late watching TV. The whole just one more episode excuse pattern. No, not everybody does that. Though I will admit it's actually quite common. You know, it's actually one of the most common deficit subcategories I come across, to be honest. But you've already managed to run up a deficit in this category that most humans never reach in a lifetime. How do you live like that? And another category, dissociating while in the shower. I know it doesn't sound all that sleep related, but when you stop and think about it, all that time you spend under the water staring at the wall instead of just turning off the water and doing something, anything, including going to bed. There is a larger proportion of this category in the just before bed column, just so you know. And what do we have here? There's an entire deficit category revolving around the Dread Pirate Robots. Preparations to attend their concerts. Actually attending the concerts. Wow, those are some huge intervals of concert time. After parties, transportation to and from. That's time you spent making long distance trips, by the way. All that time you could have spent sleeping, but instead stayed up for days traveling, not sleeping at the hotel, etc., etc. Personally, I'd love to give you a pass on this one. I mean, it is the Dread Pirate Robots after all. Oh yeah, you'd be amazed at the number of Mortal Realm adjacent demons who follow the robots. You think they've got a huge fan base among humans. You don't even know what the demons think of them. 200 years from now, people are still going to be talking about them. Hell, I took off work and went to one of their concerts last year. Absolutely amazing. We're getting distracted here. Like I said, love to give you a mulligan on this one, but technically speaking, you piled up a not insignificant amount of sleep deficits specifically related to the Dread Pirate Robots, and that's going to cost you. Let's see, other categories. There's a chunk here that's attributed to all those times you woke up half an hour or so before your alarm went off and chose not to go back to sleep again. I mean, come on. You set that alarm knowing that that was the time you needed to be up. Why would you not go back to sleep until then? And in this category, keeping late hours while chatting online with friends who are likewise staying up far too late. Yes, that is a legitimate category. This one is more reasonable. This is all the time you stayed up late or woke up early because you had either homework due or a test to study for. Although, looking at the breakdown of it, you spent about equal amounts of that time screwing around and not doing the homework or not studying as you actually spent studying. Oh, here's an interesting category. ASMR audio roleplay videos. It's not one that you've accrued as much sleep deficit in as, say, the concert one or your perpetual doom scrolling, but it's apparently enough to make it onto the account. It's also a category that I come across more and more when I'm going over other humans' accounts that are in arrears, sleep-wise. What is so fascinating about this particular kind of content? Never mind. I'm sure you could go on and on about it, but we need to get this account straightened out or we'll both be here forever. Well, not forever, but for an inconveniently long time. You know what I mean. And this category, sleepless hours spent in existential dread. Perfectly normal, to be honest. But seven hells, you sure do seem to have wasted an awful lot of time on it instead of sleeping. No, I know what you're gonna say. It's not fair to penalize you for stuff beyond your control. I don't make the rules. Folk get penalized for things outside their control all the time. That applies to demons as well as humans. Hell, that applies to life itself when you think about it. And don't even get me started on how all of your reality is just a simulation and none of you have any control over it. That train of thought is one that keeps me up more nights than I care to count. Never mind. We've got a few other minor categories here. Strange noises heard in the night, loud neighbors, loud music, occasions involving fireworks, and one entry for hours accrued in conjunction with a sleep paralysis demon. That's strange. Deficit accumulated during sleep paralysis events doesn't normally get applied to accounts in arrears. I'll have to make a note on that column. So, all of this adds up to quite a tidy sum. A metric fuck ton of sleep that you didn't get for whatever reason. You should have been sleeping, but you didn't sleep, and now your account is due for collections. Well, you've got a few options. And I don't think you're really going to find any of them particularly appealing. But the books have to be balanced. I don't make the rules, I'm just the auditor. Okay, your first option. That makes use of an equation that factors in your life expectancy, your current age, your sleep deficit, and a few other things. Basically, under this option, you'd get those 5 years of sleep you owe chopped off at the end of your expected lifespan. Yep, 5 years off right at the end. Maybe a little less time spent in a retirement home, who knows? That's the most drastic option. A lot of people choose not to go with that one as they perceive, and they are not wholly wrong, I think, that a lifespan abbreviated by 5 years might somehow rob them of some prime time in their sunset years. On the plus side, it does get you right out of the pickle you're in currently, provided you don't go into arrears again afterwards. Yeah, we've had some, repeat offenders. Chronic sleep deficit runners, you understand, usually, entertainers, rock stars, things like that. Accounting does not like to deal with the same client twice. Your next option is an immediate lump sum payment. Instead of getting what you owe lopped off at the end, you would settle your account right away with a 5-year nap. As you can probably imagine, this comes with its own array of issues. Most people have a lot of responsibilities back out there in the world. Jobs, houses, pets, just to name a few. And with how fast the world is moving these days, you miss a few weeks of current events and you're lost. Imagine being 5 years behind on your rent, your car payments, feeding your goldfish, 5 years of phone upgrades and meme culture. With this option, we do allow a 1-year grace period so that the debtor can make arrangements for the time they'll be unresponsive. We're not unreasonable, after all. Just sending someone to sleep for 5 years without giving them a bit of time to get someone to look after their dog and their houseplants, that's just barbaric. This option, again, clears your slate with regards to your sleep deficit. However, like with option 1, it does not get you off the hook if you somehow fall egregiously behind again. Accounting will send someone after you for that, and they won't be as understanding as I am. And your final option is to pay in installments, under a system of chaperoned sleep that some wiseacre in accounts payable dubbed the Cinderella option. This option takes a lot longer to pay off your sleep deficit, but in many ways it is far safer and less constraining. Now we start this by assuming a baseline sleep period of 8 hours a day. Anything over that gets counted towards your repayment. Basically, you choose the hours that you want to sleep, and we see to it that you do sleep during those hours. And I want you to understand, right at the outset, those are going to be long hours. We're talking 9, 10, 12, sometimes 14 hours of sleeping a day. Now there's some flexibility in the sleeping hours. You get a monthly audit in which you can make adjustments to the hours you'll be asleep, so you can somewhat control your life schedule. And you get a yearly audit which allows you to plan out possible hibernation periods, as we call them, where you spend as much as a week mostly asleep. I know, it sounds complicated. That's because it is complicated. Sleep deficit is a massive problem. Anyway, let me work you a bit of an example here. Let's say, just for instance, that you opt to repay your sleep deficit at a flat schedule of 12 hours a day, or more properly, 8 hours baseline sleep and 4 additional repayment hours. 4 hours repaid per day times 365 days a year would have your entire accrued sleep deficit paid off in something over 30 years. 14 hours of sleep per day, or 8 hours baseline and 6 hours repaid, would bring that down to just over 20 years. Hibernation periods would bring that down a bit faster, of course, and we do factor in things like leap days. Compared to the first two options, this one does offer a much greater amount of flexibility with your sleep-life balance, and it means that you won't suffer from any kind of cultural shock or generation gapping after a 5-year nap, or suddenly getting cut short further on down the line. And really, when you come to think about it, what's not to like about spending long hours in a nice comfy bed? That is, of course, assuming you do your sleeping in a bed. You see, under the Cinderella option, when you have your set hours of sleeping scheduled, you will have to arrange your life around those hours you're going to be asleep. 15 minutes before your assigned bedtime, you will start seeing a countdown timer at the edge of your field of vision. You will have exactly 900 seconds to finish up whatever you happen to be doing. Turn off the stove, pay the power bill, walk the dog, whatever. And when that timer reaches 0, you had damn well better be in your bed and comfortably arranged, because at 0, you go out like a light. Sitting, standing, laying down, whatever, you're going to conk out. And if that happens while you're going down a flight of stairs, worse luck you, I guess. Prudent planning is an absolute must with this option. But hey, maybe it will give you good practice at better time management or something. Now, I can give you some time to think this over. Figure out which option you want to go with. Time passes differently here in the Dream Clinic. That's not going to help you one whit regarding your sleep deficit, but it will give you time to think. Oh, and just between you and me, I'd go with the third option. I'm almost certain I can get that sleep paralysis category stricken from your account, and I might be able to shave a percentage off of the time accrued regarding the Dread Pirate robots. You know, I seem to remember a recent departmental memo regarding a promotional discount code in their name. As for the doom scrolling and one more episode shenanigans, well, you did that to yourself, and I can't help you with that. There's only so much I can do. But you take your time thinking. This is a very important decision you're about to make. I'll leave you to it. I'm gonna go get something from the break room vending machine. I can get you something liquid if you want. On me, of course. I'm pretty sure you haven't got the kind of coin those machines accept. I'll be back in a bit.